What's up, everybody? Is it time for another top 10 list already? All right. Grab your vibe juice and meet me back here in the comic room. What's up, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Keep It Comics. As always, I am your gracious host, C3. Before we get started, I would like to do what I always do, which is take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for stopping by, checking out the channel. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and thank you for all those who've been supporting the channel this far. I know I couldn't do this without you. I really appreciate you, and I enjoy being a part of the best community there is, the comic book community. So, we've got an excellent show planned for us today. I've got 10 comic books. 10 comics. I got 10 comic books that you're going to want to add to your collection. Or it may possibly be some speculation books that you may want to pick up. Or it may just want to be something you want to make a quick flip on. Now, for those of you who are wondering, this is not the list that you're going to see everybody else post. Because what I like to do is talk about comics that not a lot of people are talking about. I like to do what I call strike while the iron is cold. You know, it's very difficult to get your hands on a comic book that everybody's talking about for a low cost. So I like to focus on books that no one's talking about, which allows me to get those books at a lower cost, and at some point they do spike, and I find myself sitting on comics in my collection that are doing very well on the secondary market. Now, although I do not sell comics, I am a comic book collector, but I also like to save a couple of dollars. So, without further ado, that's my introduction. Let's jump into the list. But you know the routine over here. It's good vibes only, ladies and gentlemen. So let's check all the nonsense at the door so we can focus on the hobby that we all love so much, and that is collecting comics. All right? So, coming in at number 10, this book was published by DC. It was released on July 1st, 1975. This is some Bronze Age goodness, ladies and gentlemen. And we don't want no funny business. So that's why we have to talk about The Joker, issue number 2. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, seeing how Lady Gaga has been confirmed to play Harley Quinn in the new Joker 2 film, I thought it'd be good, you know, just good comic etiquette to have the Joker on this list, because he and Harley Quinn have always been such an item, even though they've broken up in the past few years or so. But, you know, Joker probably feels like, you can't quit me. So let's talk numbers on this book. Now, the last recorded sale for this book was on August 19th of 2022, where a raw copy of this book went for $36, ladies and gentlemen. This book is currently trending upward at 20%. The average sale for a CGC 9.6 in this book is $200, while the average sale for a raw copy is fluctuating roughly between $40 and $45. Now, there's been 310 raw copies that have sold so far, and there has been 37 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 347 copies of this particular book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, the highest known sale for CGC 9.8 in this book was back on February 21st of 2019. And that book sold for $500. Now, the fair market value has this book resting at $41 for a raw copy of this book. So, if you are in the market for The Joker issue number 2, keep your eye out on this book, ladies and gentlemen, because it's on the move. Coming in at number 9. Now, this book was published by Marvel. It was released on March 3rd of 2010. The title of this book is She-Hulk, Sensational, issue number 1. Yes. Now, my reason for placing this on the list, for one, I love that comic book cover. For two, I've been watching the first episode. I watched it like 3 times, and I actually like it. I think this particular cover captures the comedy that they are trying to add to the series. So I thought this was a nice cover. I thought this was a nice addition to add to my collection. So this is a comic that I'll be going after. It's not the first appearance. It's nothing crazy about the book, just a beautiful cover and just something I wanted to add to the collection. The particular story in this is the first time that She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and Spider-Woman team up to shut down a Hydra base. So I'm looking forward to reading this book. I can't wait to get my hands on it. So let's talk numbers. Last recorded sale for this book was on August 17th of 2022, where a raw copy of this book sold for $21. Now, this book is currently trending upward at 2%, and I'm guessing that 2% increase is basically based on the fact that the series is on now, is on Disney Plus. So that's one of the reasons why it probably has that 2% increase. And that's not bad, you know. It's not a major increase, but it is seeing some movement. And slow motion is better than no motion, where I come from. All right. Now, the average sale for CGC 9.8 in this book is $345, while the average sale for a raw copy is about $34. There's been 108 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 9 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 117 copies of this particular book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, the highest known sale for CGC 9.8 in this book was back on July 21st of 2022, where that book sold for $345. And again, fair market value has this book resting at $34 for a raw copy. So, if you are in the market for She-Hulk Sensational issue number 1, keep your eye on this book because it is on the move. Moving right along, coming in at number 8, we have a book that's coming from Dark Horse, ladies and gentlemen. This book was released on June 1st, 1989. The title of this book is Predator, issue number 1. Yes. And again, I had to put this on the list because I was checking out the series on Hulu, and it's okay. It's not one that I felt like I had to see it, but, you know, having watched the first few with Arnold and everybody, I figured I want to get a feel for what this one is like. Now, I put the book on the list because it's showing significant gains on the secondary market. Now, check this out. Marvel finally gained the rights to Predator, so I'm anticipating that we're going to see more from Predator on the big screen. So pay attention to these numbers. Now, the key factor to this book is it is the first appearance of Predator in comics. All right? Now, the last recorded sale was on August 18th of 2022, where CGC 9.4 sold for $140. This book is currently trending upward, ladies and gentlemen, at 3%. Again, not a whole lot of gain, but some significant movement nonetheless, right? And again, slow motion is better than no motion at all, right? And I'm anticipating that we'll see more movement in this book as time goes on. Once Marvel gets solidified and really lays the foundation to where they want to go with this particular character. Now, the average sale for a graded copy of a CGC 9.6 is about $190. And the average sale for a raw copy is going for about $76. There has been 772 raw copies that have sold, and there has been 346 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 1,118 copies of this particular book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, on January 2nd of 2022, a CGC 9.8 sold for $1,000, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes, the comic book community, there are some collectors that still believe in this book, all right? So, if you are in the market for Dark Horse Predator issue number 1, keep your eye out on this book because it too is on the move. And the fair market value has this book resting at $76, and that's for a raw copy, all right? So keep your eye out on it. Give me 1 second. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, good vibes only. Appreciate you guys stopping by, checking out the channel too. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and definitely feel free to ring the bell so every time we do a video, you guys will get that notification, all right? And you can share it also to make sure other members of the community get a chance to see what we got going on over here, all right? Perfect. Coming in at number 7, this book was published by DC. It was released on May 2nd of 2012. The title of this book is Action Comics, issue number 9. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it. Now, the key factor to this book is it is the first full appearance and origin of President Superman, Calvin Ellis. Yes, first appearance and origin of President Superman, Calvin Ellis. And he is from Earth 23. All right, so let's talk numbers. Last recorded sale for this book was on August 19th of 2022, where a raw copy of this book sold for $30. This book is currently trending upward, ladies and gentlemen, at 43.87%. The average sale for CGC 9.8 in this book is $178, while the average sale for a raw copy, you can get your hands on one for about $35. There's been 571 raw copies that have sold and 70 graded copies that have sold so far, giving us a total of 641 copies of this particular book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, the highest known sale for CGC 9.8 in this book was back on March 10th of 2021, and that book sold for $550, ladies and gentlemen. $550 for Action Comics issue number 9. The first appearance and origin of President Superman, Calvin Ellis, from Earth 23. And the fair market value has this book rested at $35 for a raw copy. So, if you are in the market for Action Comics issue number 9, keep your eye out on this book because it too is on the move. And we're going to keep the show moving, ladies and gentlemen. Coming in at number 6. This book is published by Marvel. It was released on January 6th of 2021. The title of this book is Star Wars, The High Republic, issue number 1. Absolutely. I placed this book on the list for all my Star Wars fans and everything that's going on with the Star Wars franchise. We have to really keep our eye out on this particular market because Star Wars is making significant movement and is doing a lot of changing. It's filling in some gaps, like the story filling, the growth and the expansion of the Star Wars universe is happening right in front of our eyes. And I wanted to put this book on the list because it's one of my favorite Star Wars stories. I started reading it when it first came out. It's highly recommended. If you haven't grabbed it, go out and grab it. All right, let's talk numbers. The key factor to this book is it is the first appearance of Keeve Trennis, Conry, KC-78, Roden Keene, Lakia, Estella Moru, and Praytree Vetter. Definitely not trying to say that too many times. Praytree Vetter. All right. Now, the last recorded sale for this book was on August 18th of 2022, where a raw copy of this book went for $22. This book is currently trending down, ladies and gentlemen. That is why I have it up here. Remember, my motto is strike while the iron is cold. So there's not a lot of people talking about this particular book. So you can get your hands on a copy or two for not a lot of money. This book is currently trending down at 0.20%, at 0.20%. Again, it hasn't dropped a lot, but it is dropped enough to where I think I might want to get my hands on a couple more copies of it. All right, so I wanted to share that with you. Now, the average sale for CGC 9.8 is $85, which in my opinion is a perfect opportunity to buy in for a book that possibly can spike and continue to soar from this point forward, right? So just keep your eye out on this book. Again, average sale for a CGC 9.8 is $85. The average sale for a raw copy of this book is $35. Now, there has been 823 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 107 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 930 copies of this particular book that has changed hands on the secondary market and continues to move as we speak, right? Now, the highest known sale for a CGC 9.8 in this book was back in March 7th of 2022, with that book sold for $150. So just think, ladies and gentlemen, back in March, it sold for $150. Right now, you could probably get a 9.8 for like $85. And again, I can't stress this enough. I have a good feeling about this book, that this book is going to do well in the future. So to be able to buy a 9.8 at $85 and then watch it grow is a beautiful thing. All right. So fair market value has this book resting at $35 for a decent raw copy. All right. So if you are in the market for Star Wars, The High Republic, issue number 1, keep your eye out on this book because it is on the move, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Coming in at number 5, this book is published by Marvel. It was released on November 1st, 1969. The title of this book is The Avengers, issue number 70. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, another Avengers book. And the reason I'm watching this book is because it is the second appearance of the Grand Master, Nighthawk, Hyperion, Wizard, Dr. Spectre, and Squadron Sinister. I need to get these characters in my collection. I had this book on the list once before, and I wanted to put it back up there because I think it's time for me to strike. All right, so let's talk numbers. The last recorded sale for this book was on August 18th of 2022, where a raw copy of this book sold for $92. This book is currently trending upward at 49.94%. And it's showing an average sale for a CGC 9.6 of $1,560. Now, the average sale for a raw copy is $38. I myself will be going after the raw copy. All right. Now, there has been 384 raw copies that have sold, and there has been 53 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 437 copies of this particular book that has changed hands. Now, the highest known sale for CGC 9.8 was back on March 3rd of 2022, where that book sold for $6,800, ladies and gentlemen, for the 9.8. Now, again, fair market value has this book resting at $38 for a raw copy. So that's what I'll be looking for. I'll be going after the raw copy. And if you are in the market for Avengers issue number 70, keep your eye out on this book because it is also on the move. All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming in at number 4, we have another Marvel book. This book was released on July 1st, 1974. The title of this book is Daredevil, issue number 111. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it, right? Shout out to my boy Rod the Rican, Just the Rican, and his comics. Got me hooked on Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil, so now I'm looking for all things Daredevil also to add to my collection. So shout out to you, Rod. I'm not quite ready to grab that issue number 1, but I'm gonna do some fillers and keep my eye out on that number 1. And you know me, I'm definitely gonna strike when the iron's cold on that baby. Which don't mean much because that book in a decent copy is still pretty pricey. But I'm gonna give it one heck of a shot. Definitely gonna shoot my shot. All right, so let's talk about it. Now, the key factor to this book is it is the first appearance of the Silver Samurai. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Last recorded sale for this book was on August 18th of 2022, where a raw copy of this book sold for $60. And that's what I'll be going after. I'll be going after the raw copy. All right. This book is also trending upward, ladies and gentlemen, at 58.18%. The average sale for a CGC 8.5 in this book is $313, while the average sale for a raw copy is $48. Now, there has been 311 raw copies that have sold, but there has also been 17 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 328 copies of this book that has changed hands. Now, the highest known sale for CGC 9.8 of this book was back on May 10th of 2020, where that book sold for $525, which again, still is not bad for a book of this magnitude, all right, for a book of this caliber. So, you know, if you have it, it's definitely still a good time to purchase, I believe. All right. Now, fair market value has this book resting at $48 for the raw copy. So if this is a book that you're interested in, pay attention, because it too is on the move. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the top 3 comics on the top 10 list. All right. This is the top 3 most popular comic books of the week. And thank each and every one of you for stopping by, checking out the channel. Please feel free to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to share this content, because that helps us out a lot. All right? Oh, and you've stuck around this far, so if you hang around to the end, I'll show you a few comics that I picked up for this past new comic book day. All right? So let's get back. Now, coming in at number 3. This book was published by Image. It was released on October 20th of 2021. The title of this book is Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 1. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for those of you who've been watching me, you guys know that I'm a big Gunslinger Spawn fan. And I am definitely paying attention to his books. All right? Now, the key factor to this book is, it is the Brett Booth regular cover. That's it. I like that Brett Booth regular cover. Him standing in the shadows of, looks like high noon. It's just a dope cover to me, man. Grew up on Westerns. My dad's a big Western fan. He still watches Bonanza and Gunsmoke and all that. So I'm just a big fan for the Western atmosphere. All right, so let's talk numbers. Now, the last recorded sale for this book was on August 18th of 2022, where a raw copy of this book went for $50. And I'm happy to see Gunslinger Spawn getting the respect that it deserves, right? This book is currently trending upward, ladies and gentlemen, at 62.78%. Now, the average sale for CGC 9.8 in this book is $73. The average sale for a raw copy is $23. There's been 290 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 22 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 312 copies of this book that continues to change hands on the secondary market. While we pay attention, the highest known sale for CGC 9.8 of this book was back on December 10th of 2021, where that book sold for $80. Not a bad buy-in for 9.8, $80, right? Now, fair market value has this book resting at $23 for the most common, which is the raw copy. All right? So if you are in the market for Image Comics, Gunslinger Spawn, issue number 1, keep your eye out on this book, because it's on the move. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving right along, coming at number 2, Steady As She Flow. This book is published by Marvel. This book was released on November 1st, 1992. The title of this book is Spider-Man 2099, issue number 1. And we know what all this is about. You know, this is about the Spider-Verse. We got all the spiders coming, so I had to check up on this book because I've got a couple of copies. I've got quite a few copies in the collection. I may want to grab another one, so I just wanted to share this information with you guys, that this is where this comic is at right now on the secondary market. The key factor to this book is, it is the first solo title featuring Spider-Man 2099, the futuristic Spider-Man. Right? Now, the last recorded sale for this book was on August 18th of 2022, where a raw copy went for $66. Now, this book is currently trending upward, ladies and gentlemen, at 97.12%. The average sale for a CGC 9.8 is $141, while the average sale for a raw copy is about $26. And that's what I'm looking to spend. I'm looking to spend that $26. And if I can get my hands on a near mint copy of this book and possibly send it in, and it comes back in a 9.8, hey, listen, it has already done its work. It's done its job, right? And I'm cool with that. So that's what I'm going after. Now, there has been 3,188 raw copies of this book that have sold. And there has been 1,000 88 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 4,276 copies of this particular book that has changed hands. And it continues to move on the secondary market because I believe the comic book community is excited about what's going on with the new Spider-Verse that's coming. All right, so now check this out. The highest known sale for CGC 9.9 in this book was back on March 14th of 2021, and that book sold for $3,550. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the 9.9, the 9.9, yes, sold for $3,550, and the fair market value has this book rested at $26 for the raw copy. Now, if you can get your hands on that 9.9, man, more power to you, do you. But right now, that's just out of my reach. But listen, if you can get it, man, get it. Because I wish I could. But I'm going to grab me a raw copy, though. I might grab 2. I might ball out, just grab 2. Let me get 2 of those. All right? So if you're in the market for Spider-Man 2099, issue number 1, keep your eye on this book because it's on the move. All right? Now, we finally made it, ladies and gentlemen, to the #1 most popular comic book of the week. Keep It Comics' most popular comic book of the week is published by Undone Comics. It was released on March 30th of 2022. The title of this book is Darkstalkers, Morrigan, issue number 1. Yes, I bet y'all didn't see that coming, right? Absolutely. Let's talk about it. Yes, different, something that not everybody else is posting, not everybody else is talking about. These are books that are going under the radar. Like, no one's talking about these books that I'm bringing you. So you probably getting a heads up on some things that may spike later on. Everybody's talking about what they're talking about right now. Those books continue to rise in price and everybody's grabbing. So, you know, eBay is just, the prices are just ridiculous. I'm not paying for any of those books right now. I'm going to buy the books that no one's talking about. That's just how I move. I strike while the iron is cold. That's my philosophy. All right? So, the key factor to this book, it's a one-shot featuring Morrigan and from the Darkstalkers, the video game. All right? Absolutely. So, for all my gamers, this one's for you. The last recorded sale for this book was on July 28th of 2022, where a raw copy of this book sold for an easy $5. Give me my $5. Yes, $5, ladies and gentlemen. This book is currently trending upward at 141.64%. Now, the average sale for a raw copy is $125. And this far, there has been 51 copies of this book that have changed hands on the secondary market. The highest known sale for a raw copy of this book was back on June 1st of 2022, where that book sold for $11. Yeah. Now, fair market value has it rested at $125 for the most common, which is the raw copy. All right? So, keep your eye out on this book because it too is on the move. All right, ladies and gentlemen? Before I go, as I promised, I'll share with you some comics that I picked up for this past new comic book day. And I'll start off by showing you Youngblood, issue number 8, second print. We've got Daredevil, Legacy. Well, this is Daredevil, issue number 2, but it's Legacy 650. Chip Zdarsky's. Who we got on this? Yep, we got Zdarsky on this. I finally got my copy of Sandman. This is the facsimile, but nonetheless, I'm happy to have it in my collection. Been enjoying the series on Netflix. I have Harley Quinn, issue number 21, the Killing Joke variant. I've got Detective Comics, issue number 27. This is the facsimile. And you know I love that yellow. Big fan of yellow comics. Yellow covers. Batman, issue number 125. And I believe this is the second print. Yes, Batman issue number 125. It is the second print, ladies and gentlemen. It's a nice purple cover. Very nice. Now, a comic I'm super excited about having in the collection. Batman issue number 125, second print, the 1 in 25. Fail-safe variant. Foil joint. If you guys can see that. It's just a beautiful cover. See if I can get it up. It's a beautiful cover. Happy to have it. Happy to be able to add this to the collection. Next up from DC, I picked up the first issue Spectacular, Crisis on Infinite Earth, issue number 1. Finally happy to add this to my collection. I kept walking by it and walking by it. I've gone in shops and it's been there and I didn't pick it up, but today I decided to pull the trigger on it. And I grabbed Crisis on Infinite Earth. This is issue number 7. This is the death of Supergirl. Excellent. I grabbed the Amazing Spider-Man Annual, issue number 1. I was able to read this. I was happy to read this. This is my first time reading the comic, man. And I got to tell you, there is a big difference on how comics were written back then and how they're being written today. How the fact that the narrator is involved in the story and he's a part of what's going on, and the way he explains it, and he narrates, but then he draws you back into what's going on. Like, it's just so dope to see comics being written like that, man. We need to get back to that type of writing, man. To me, that was just awesome. Awesome writing. All right. I grabbed Star Wars issue number 26. I have a few copies of this, but it's all, you know, they'll be coming in the mail. They'll be coming in the mail. I read that one also. A lot of a few first appearances in there, I'll say. Interesting story. I don't want to like give it away, but something's about to happen. And Karen's nephew is going to be a part of that. Get back to me, but I'm pretty sure that her name is Akari. But her nephew is about to do something crazy, so pay attention to that. I'm going to read it again, too. I'm going to read it again just to make sure. All right? I grabbed Edge of Spider-Verse issue number 2. Couple of first appearances in here. There's a couple stories. Not bad, not horrible. It's all right. In the 1 in 10. I grabbed The Mandalorian, issue number 2. Again, I've got a few copies of those. The movie variant. And also the 1 in 25. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I've got. So, I appreciate each and one of you stopping by, checking out the channel. If you enjoyed the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That way, when I drop the next video, we can all meet back here in the same spot. All right? So, you know what I always say, don't hate, congratulate. Show some love, because that don't cost you nothing. Appreciate. But no matter what you do, ladies and gentlemen, always keep it comics. Good vibes only.